Hey, everybody. I hope that you had a fabulous Thursday. I had great things that were said about all of your classes, especially fourth hour, since he had a hard time getting logged in. Thank you for being kind of the guinea pigs. When I get back, I will assign someone to be the technology guru who will help the substitutes whenever we have one. But to update you, Gracie, we went to the doctor and he said that she probably has a virus and just has to write it out. So I'll be out today again, but I'll be back Monday for sure because Gracie's Grammy's going to come out and take care of her just in case she's still feeling rotten. So thank you so much for being proactive. When I get a great note from a sub, it's really telling me that you are doing what you need to do, that I got a whole bunch of homework assignments done of people who had them done within the amount of time, which is great. So if the sub hasn't already, they're going to collect from the handful of you in each class that still need to turn in that assignment with mixed fractions and improper fractions. So today we are on page 9. And page 9 is lesson 1. Welcome to 7th grade math lesson 1 on rates. And so we'll be talking about rates a little bit today. We're only going to do about half the lesson today and we'll finish the rest of it. Most of you on Monday will be watching the eclipse in 5th hour. So I'll have to get you guys caught up some other way. But when we talk about rates, we're not going to have you take your pulse. But if I were to take my pulse, and I've done it before, where I hold my fingers here on my neck and I can feel my heartbeats, I had a pulse of 162 beats in 2 minutes. So go ahead and enter that into this cool heart rate here. So for every 2 minutes, my heart beat 162 times. I counted them all through. Okay, yeah, awesome. You're good. Yeah, sure, no problem. So it beat 162 times in 2 minutes. So down here it says, use the results from that to complete this bar diagram. So in 2 full minutes, it beat how many times? 162. All right, so we're writing in 162, easy peasy. Now, how about the number of beats in 1 minute? Because that was for 2. So if we split it in in half, what are we going to have? So we take 162 and we divide it by 2. We get 81. So we have 81 beats in how many minutes? 1 minute. So I just split that in half. So now instead of having it 162 in 2 minutes, it makes sense a lot of times for me to know how many beats it is in 1 minute, because if I can figure out how many beats it is in 1 minute, I can then use it to figure out how much it would be in 10 minutes or 30 minutes really easily. So my heart beat 81 times per 1 minute. Now, what if I wanted to know for some reason the number of beats in 1/2 of 1 minute? It would kind of like be extending this out, this bar here, down. So this is 1 minute, and then we would be like further breaking that up into half minutes. So if I'm looking at this as like a whole minute, half of a minute, well, we're going to take that number and do what with it? Yeah, we're going to divide it by 2 again. So divide that by 2 again because we split it up, and I've got 40.5. Yeah, 40.5. We have a half a beat because this is not an even number. This one was, so it split really nicely down the middle, but this one was not. So 40.5 beats for what? For every half minute. It's really specific when we're talking about these different units. It's really important that we be specific about those things. So go ahead and turn the page. So let's talk about rates. Talk about what a rate is. Because that's really important. We talked about ratios, and you talked about ratios last year. It's really just a relationship between 2 numbers. Yesterday we were talking about, the day before we were talking about, I think it was like nails per shingles on the Are You Ready assignment. And that was a ratio between, for this many nails, there will always be this many shingles. For this many shingles, there will always be this many nails. When we're talking about 2 quantities that we're comparing in a ratio that have different kinds of units, that's called a rate. So this is an example of a rate that we just did. This one was 160 beats. So beats is 1 unit of measurement, right? And minutes is a unit of measurement. So if we have beats and minutes, if we compare these 2 things, that's a rate, okay? Now, when a rate gets simplified down to where it has a denominator of 1 unit, That's called a unit rate. I want you to write that big over here because that's something huge that we're going to ask you later. What is the unit rate? Now, if it's kind of a foreign language to you, think about a unit is just like something that you're measuring in. Units are more than one. A unit is just one. So if we figure out how many somethings is in one something else, like it was 180 beats in 1 minute, then we usually say the rates in a unit rate. Like we usually say 80 BPM, beats per minute, right? And we just assume that you understand if I say beats per minute or if I say miles per hour, it's miles in 1 hour. That's the unit rate. It's beats in 1 minute. It's dollars per 1 apple, okay? So all of those things, if we whittle it down to the simplest form, not even the simplest form, when we whittle it down, we get a 1 in the denominator. That's really what we're looking for the unit rate. Now, one thing I wanted to kind of remind you, there's some language going on here that you really need to, anytime you hear these things, and I'm so used to it because I've been in science class after science class after science class and math class, all the way through college and my master's. So I take for granted that you might not know these things. So a fraction line for a ratio, sometimes they're shown sideways like this. This is the same thing. They're really just being divided. They're shown like this, and sometimes they're shown sideways. Those, it's the same. A fraction bar is also when we say per, like in miles per hour, it can be M per hour. Or if we say miles per hour, we can stick that little fraction line in there. So miles over hour. If you see something like in, so I ran 5 miles in, I don't know, 30 minutes. Yeah, right. But I walked a mile in 30 minutes. That'll work too. So a mile in 30 minutes, 2 miles in 10 minutes, whatever you have, that's a rate because there's 2 different units. And when we say in, we can write it, you know, miles over minutes. Okay. Also, if you see something like for every, so for every 1 minute, it's 160 beats. So you might see that language. It's the same as doing this fraction. It's a ratio. If you hear those things, that's ratio language. And since they have different units, that's a rate, a rate. Oh, right. So hopefully that video worked earlier and you got to see a couple of funny examples of different rates. Okay. Here's some other examples that are really good. These are just, I mean, talk about, you know, kids asking me, hey, when are we even going to use this math, Mrs. Blake? Like that's a total question that math teachers have gotten since the dawning of time. And rates are super applicable to your life. Super applicable because we drive cars. You will drive a car one day. And so you'll have a number of miles per 1 hour. We call it miles per hour. There's that word. There is it shown in a couple of different ways. And we also call that the average speed. What's the average speed that person was going at any given time that, you know, and when they were traveling, it was just about this many miles per hour. We get miles per the gallon in the car, and you like a car that has good gas mileage because the less cashola you have to put into your gas tank, the further you can go, and we like that. So it's miles per gallon. And that's what we call gas mileage. And then we deal every day. We buy stuff. I mean, every day. You guys might not, but your parents do. Like every day we buy things. And so every day that I'm in the store with Grace or by myself, I'm looking at how many dollars per an item. So, and I compare prices a lot, and we'll do a lot of comparing all the time because like Walmart will say, oh, this is on sale. And when you actually do the math, it's really not on sale. So you have to sometimes figure out which one really is on sale. How much money per 1 pound? It might say like, there's like a raisins problem we're going to do probably tomorrow. So maybe I won't give it away, but there might be like a pack of a bunch of raisins together. And when they sell it in bigger packs, usually they sell it at a cheaper price per 1 ounce of raisins or per 1 pack of raisins. And sometimes they're like, oh, this is on sale, it's cheaper. And when I do it, it's not, or maybe it is. And then I get excited. So a price per pound is dollars per pound, or it's a unit price. So unit price we use a lot. So sometimes they have a sale. Oh, if you join now, 3 people together, it's $50. And that might be a better unit price for just one of you to pay than if you did it on your own. So let's take a look at a couple of examples down here, right? And sometimes I just kind of cross out this stuff because I want you to see it worked out. So kind of bear with me. Adrian biked 24 miles in 4 hours. So there's our rate. And like I said, a lot of times the first one we write is the numerator and the second one is the denominator. So I'm going to put 24 miles, and I'm going to write out those units because I don't want to forget. But if you put MI, that would be okay. And 4 hours, okay? So that is her speed. If she biked at that constant speed, which means if she kept up that pace, how many miles did she ride in just 1 hour? And that's a really handy thing to know. This is the unit rate. So they're really asking, what's the unit rate going on here? How many miles is she going to go in 1 hour? We know 4, so we've got to whittle it down, don't we? Okay, whatever we have in the denominator, if we're trying to get rid of that denominator, then we got to divide by that. And it's okay if it doesn't go into this evenly. I know we did some simplest form stuff, but we can use our calculators now, and we don't need it to be a fraction at the end. It's going to be a decimal, and that is fine. So we can start dividing with our calculators and get an actual decimal number. We want it whittled down to just 1 hour. We're okay if it's going to be, 1.5 or 1.25, no biggie. So in order to get rid of this 4, if I divide 4 divided by 4, what am I going to get? 1. And didn't we talk about when 1 is the denominator, we really just have a whole number with whatever's on top? So what is 24 divided by 4? Well, you should know, but you could use your calculator. That's 6. So they have right here, they have 6 miles over 1 hour. Like, it could not be more simpler than that. To get rid of this down here, you just divide by the same number on the top and bottom. I'm dividing by the denominator, because if I divide any number by itself, I'm going to get 1. And if I have a 1 in my denominator, I just have this number. Okay, so I have 6 miles over 1 hour. Now think about what that means if we were to write it or say it. It means Adrian biked 6 miles in 1 hour, or 6 miles per hour, and miles per hour assumes that it's in 1 hour. So when you write out that unit rate, you really have to tell me what that means. You don't want to say 6 over 1. That's nothing. You got to have units, guys. If you don't have units down, I'm going to mark you wrong, and that would be awful. So you have to have your units. You have to keep the miles per hour going. You have to tell it to me in those units. So there's a 1 down there, and it's not just a 1, it's 1 hour, okay? So I'm going to help you to set up A, and I want you to set up B on your own, and you guys are going to do these, okay? So we're going to find a unit rate, and then don't just stop reading there. You're going to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. That means if you get more than in the hundredths place, then you're going to round. And we haven't done any rounding yet this year. You've done it since 3rd grade though, but it's one of those hard things you kind of forget to do. So we'll talk about that as well. So let me help you set up this 300 for 6 hours. This first one is the numerator. The second one is the denominator. So I have $300. Please, for the love, write down the unit so you don't forget it on the flip side. And 6 hours. So you have to think about what can I just told you. What can I divide the top and bottom by to get a unit rate? And then I want you to also set up this one. So please do A and B. I'm going to ask the nice, lovely substitute to pause this for you to give you some time. All right, I'm assuming that you have finished those problems, so let's talk about these. What did you divide by to get rid of the 6? Well, you divided by 6, top and bottom. And 6 hours divided by 6 gives me 1 hour. Please don't forget the hour. And then $300 divided by 6 is going to get me $50. What does that mean? It means $50 for 1 hour. We can also write it as $50 per hour, or kind of write it sideways like 50 per hour. I would accept any of those. Let's talk about this one. If I'm setting this one up, my numerator is 220 miles, and my denominator is, you guessed it, 8 gallons. So we're looking at miles per gallon. So what did you divide that by? How did you get rid of that 8? We want that to be a 1. If I divide any number by itself, it's going to be 1. So just divide it by the denominator and you can get rid of that junk, okay? So that's going to be 1 gallon because 8 divided by 8 is 1. And then 220 divided by 8 is 27.5 miles. 2 different units. We're talking about a rate here. So this means 27.5 miles on 1 gallon of gas, probably. That's how far they traveled. Fantastic. You could always write your answers over here too if you'd like, but I'm fine if they're down here. All right. Next page, I'm going to show you, am I going to show you this example? Yeah. One more example. Number 2. Find the unit price. Unit price, that's the price for how many units? 1. We want to know how much one thing is. So this is not 1. How many of these juice boxes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 juice boxes. Well, yippee-doo. Well, I want to know how much one juice box is because I'm going to compare it to the price of this other brand of juice, and I'm going to get the cheaper one because it's all about the money, okay? So I've got $2 for 8 juice boxes. Don't be freaked out because they wrote out the word 8. You know that that's an 8, right? So when we've set this up as our fraction, it's 2 for 8. So they set it up as $2 for 8 boxes. And how are they getting rid of that 8? They're dividing by 8. So they're just showing you their work here. 8 divided by 8, and they're also dividing by 2 by 8. So that's going to give them, don't be freaked out that they're doing their work down. We're going to start doing work down like this when we get to algebra, but it's okay if you're doing it going to the right. So when they did this out, they got 0.25, so 25 cents per box. So the unit price is 25 cents per juice box, per 1 box. All right, that's going to be really helpful for me. So I want you to try this one. Remember, numerators usually first and denominators usually second, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't care how they say it here. You are always, write this over here, always put money on top. Just do it. Because if you put money on top, you're going to have the price per 1 pack. You can put the packs on top, but you're not going to figure out the price per 1 pack. You're going to figure out how many packs you get for $1. And you don't really want that. You want the price for 1 pack because you want the unit is your pack. So the unit that you're trying to figure out the price for, or the unit that you want, is on the bottom. It's in your denominator. So put the money on the top. Right now, put the money on the top of the numerator, put the 4 in the denominator, and pause this video while you do that problem. Find the unit rate. Get rid of that denominator. All right, friends, I'm going to put $2.12 up here, and we're going to put 4 packs on the bottom. I'm going to write out pack because I am a sucker for units, because we're talking about units, folks. It's important. You can't just put 4. Don't do it. Look at your partner's paper. If they just put 4, just give them a look and say, come on, man, you're better than that. You're better than that. You write down pack. Yeah, you tell them, you're better than that, man. Let's go. Let's go here. Let's go. All right. So if I have $2.12 per 4 packs, then I can figure out, if I get rid of this 4 and make it a 1, I can figure out how much money it costs for just 1 pack of mixed fruit. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top. I'm going to have 1 pack, and this is going to give me the price for 1 pack. So I've got $2.12 divided by 4. That means each pack is going to have 0.53, which means 53 cents. So it is 53 cents per 1 pack of mixed fruit. Alrighty, that's how you find unit rates. Unit rate in money, unit rate in time, whatever you've got going on, that's how you're going to find it. All right, let me see here. I'm going to give you your homework assignment, and here's what I want you to do, because we're going to break this into 2, so I'm going to give you chunks of assignments. So when I give a homework assignment, I usually write it right up here at the top. Ooh, and Fred, I forgot what I was going to give you for the assignment. I don't think I have it on here. Okay, so what your homework assignment is going to be, it's going to be page 13, number 1 through 8. Nope, 1 through 6. And page 15, number 16 through 20. Yes, I know that 16 and 17 are done for you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you know why I want you to look at those? Because it sets it up for you. It reminds you how to set these. It's just more examples, just like it's homework help examples, just like you would go on to Connect Ed. Okay? I'm not giving you any, I don't think, that have a little house on it. Oh, look, number 3 does. If you have a trouble, number 3 has worked out for you on Connect Ed. And you can always go on and look at the tutorial to see another one of these examples worked out, okay? Or you can Google this and find me on YouTube. But here's what my suggestion is. You have this written down up here. Have it written down in your agenda. And now what you do is you go to page 13 and you're going to circle 1 through 6 so you know that you're doing the right ones. So you're going to go, okay, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then you know what to skip because we're going to do other ones later. And then you go to the next page and you're going to do 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's a handful of problems, but it's really not going to be a ton because most of them you just set them up, divide by the denominator, and you're good. Now, here's the deal. I want you to show your work. Yes, I know. Some of you are like, this is a major point against me, but you know what? This is a big deal for lots of reasons. One reason is you need to get in the habit of this because things are going to get more complicated and you're going to make an error and you're not going to know where the hey that error is. And if you show your work, you're going to be able to find it and just change that part and not have to start from the scratch. Okay? So I'm saving you time. Secondly, you have to show me your thinking. That's your responsibility. That's part of being proactive. I can't see your brain. So if you write down an answer, I don't know if you just took that off someone's paper. I don't know if you just made it up. I don't know how you got it to help you to figure out what you did so I can switch it and help you change it if you got it wrong. I don't know what your thinking is. I don't know if you're on track. I don't know what strategy you're using. So this homework is you communicating to me what your thinking is. So whatever you do, if you just write divide by 4, you know, on the top or bottom, or divide by 4 and just show me your work, that is showing me your work. You don't have to rewrite the problem all crazy, but you do have to have the units. You do have to put feet, money, pounds. It's got to be there because on your quiz, guys, I'm going to take off credit and then you'll have to retake it. And you don't want that because you've got goals. So this is something that you can do to meet your goal. Okay? Get busy. On Monday, first thing, take this puppy out. Just always know that's what I'm going to want you to do. And I'm going to come around and just check that you have it done and you can communicate anything to me that you need. Not excuses, but whatever, okay? You have the rest of the time to work on this. If by chance you do get finished, I think I have a cart in your room reserved and you can hop on and play Prodigy, but you have to show your sub both of those pages with your work and your units. All right?